Hello, Education 1301. Here's your week 4 explanation. We're going to be looking at current trends and issues, and this will take us through next Thursday, February 4th. So we're going to be looking at technology. We're going to look at the evolution of curriculum. So when you go in here, we've got the quiz over the topics. We have a technology discussion, and then your philosophy of education is due. You are going to have to show proof that you submitted it to the Writing Center and got back. So if you can take a screenshot of what you sent, proof of what they sent back to you, those are going to be your documentations. I'll go a little bit more over it in just a minute. The first topic is going to be technology. And so there's a really nice video on common sense over an introduction to the 4 C's. And so critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and of course, I'm not going to remember the fourth one right now. What they're saying is these are skills that 21st century learners needed. So last week we talked about educational philosophies, and so we talked about essentialism and perennialism being about content that you needed to know, and then there's student-based ones like social reconstructivism and progressivism that focuses on the student. Well, we are living in a technologically advanced world. We are now a more global community than ever. What are skills that our students need to know? Because we can't always teach them all the knowledge because so much knowledge changes and adapts and there's new information. So you have to teach them how to learn. Another one's going to be here. This is Granite School District, but this is a really great page as I move this over. They go into additional sources. This is a really nice infographic. Creativity, that's the other one. And then they have some videos about how this plays out in their school district. This is just a fun video. Growing up, these were the first computers that I had when I was in public school. The next one's going to be curriculum. And so I go over once again the different types of curriculum, formal, informal, and hidden. But I think based on the last discussion, hidden something that really struck a chord with most of you. This is Sir Ken Robinson. He has recently passed, but he talks about how the education paradigm needs to switch. How we do high school now was determined back in the 1890s. And so we've come a long way, and we've decided to teach subjects separate, even though in the real world you combine math and science all the time, history and psychology, those different types of things. And so he does a nice job explaining that. If you want a handout to walk through this, that's there. So for my reading and writing, learning preferences, the way to get the information in there. She does a really great job talking about sticky learning, that a lot of times in education, we show you something and then we move on, and we show you something and we move on, and we never go back and connect it, where repetition and seeing it in different forms and practicing it in different ways makes the learning stick. So she does a great job with that TED Talk. And then looking at project-based and problem-based learning. And so project-based is when you're going to have like a fundraiser for something, or you're going to be designing a superhero based off of a time period and a problem and things along those lines. Problem-based learning is where, like, the one that always comes to mind is like the creek is being poisoned by this, or something along those lines, where there's a problem and you have to solve it. So there's 2 ways that you can come at it, but there are approaches where you can use reading and writing and math and science and social studies and history all in one to solve it. And so that's the curriculum. The Module 4 quiz. Then we have our technology discussion. And so I have a video and rethinking. And so this is just a fun comparing, and even this is a little bit more evolved than this video, but it's a nice comparison. And there's really 2 videos now. I want you to describe 3 21st century skills in terms of flood of information. So there's lots of information and lots of apps like TikTok where kids are seeing tons of information. And how do we use technology to teach in a global pandemic? Because that's something that public schools had to quickly adapt to in the last year. And I don't know how successful it's been. I don't know that we've equipped all these teachers with those skills. And so how is this all playing out? What needs to change? What can happen? And how does problem and project-based learning reflect 21st century skills? And if there's a fun video that you find, please feel free to go in and add it. You can go in and just insert the link. If you've got the media there or the image or the link, it will go in right there and then that will pop up. The last thing, oh, I will tell you that you guys are going to be doing it in 2 different groups just because we have so many and I want you guys to dive deep on that. The last is your philosophy of education assignment. And so we're starting it in this class because you already have your thoughts about how teaching and learning happen. And so it evolves. So the one that I had when I was 18 and getting my teaching degree is different than it is now. Some of the things are still the same. However, it has evolved. So it's easiest to get your ideas on paper now. And then as you go over the next 4 years, you'll be able to refine it to your beliefs. This is a question that you will most likely get asked in a job interview, like what is your philosophy of education, or how do you think children learn? So there's 3 questions really that you need to answer. What's the purpose of education? What are the students' roles and responsibilities? And what is the teacher's roles and responsibilities? Okay? So you have to submit it to the Writing Center because this is one of those things like you may turn this in with a job application, and if you have spelling errors or grammar errors, your paper will be pushed to the side. And so this is what you want to be strong for the principal or the teachers to read. Okay, so Monday, take a screenshot when you're submitting it so that you have documentation you sent it and when you sent it. So if by Thursday you haven't heard back from them, you can turn something in. Whatever they give you, whatever feedback, include that as well. Here's an example of a philosophy of education, and you can see I'm going to be looking for this. And then, of course, APA formatting. If you don't remember what APA formatting is, I'll go back into modules, under Start Here, APA formatting, and then here's the example. Okay, so it's there. You can take it and use it. So anyway, that is week 4. I look forward to seeing you guys on the discussion board.